Hey guys, this is Tom here at draftmagic.com, and we're going to be doing another 4-round daily with the Puresteel Collar standard deck. First of all, I just want to give a thanks out to one of my viewers, Multi-Magic Fan. He had the insight of looking at adding in Vapor Snag, so what I ended up doing is it got me thinking. I decided to take out Ponder just because it had been helpful, but it was certainly the weakest card in my deck for what I was trying to do. And after making the replacement of Ponder, replace it with Vapor Snag, ended up doing a couple games, gone undefeated so far with the change, been beating Delver, beating Wolf Run, I've used it to beat Solar Flare. It's just the difference is just unbelievable. The ability to protect Paladin, the ability to reset Titan 3 turns in a row, the ability to protect any of our threats. I mean, I was able to use it to save Champion in response to Wrath, so just want to give a special thanks. Really nice insight there, and if you guys do see insights that that might help the deck, please do leave comments. But so hopefully we're going to be starting here soon, and really excited to see what the changes bring. Okay, here we are against our first round opponent for the 4-round daily. Opponent of ours ran into it a couple times before, a guy named Chihoi. Very strong player, so a lot of respect there. And let's go ahead and get started. This hand looks just fine. We have some of our elements. We can, assuming we can pick up the Paladin, we do have the way to get the Collar and the Mortar Pod in hand. Now I believe that our opponent might be running Delver Blade or Esper Delver. Should find out here shortly, but this is quite a good hand against Delver, especially on the play with the Mortar Pod. And let's see what he's playing. I believe it is Delver Blade. Yes. So very happy to turn to Mortar Pod here. No reason to use the Gut Shot just yet. Hopefully he'll ponder into another Delver and we can get him again. So I guess he might be running a more similar version of the Delver Blade, which is just a little bit different from ours. Obviously we're not running Delver, and we're running the Puresteel combo instead, but this is a version of Delver that does run Champion the Parish and Gather the Townsfolk to try to get out of control. At this point we just want to go ahead and start assembling the combo. Now, might have been right to actually go ahead and pick up Grafdigger's Cage there. We can always copy our own Trinket Mage to grab the Grafdigger's Cage, but that might have been correct, especially if he goes Lingering Souls. So we'll have a chance to see whether or not he does. But at this point, like here we want to go ahead and attack, see what he does, and see if we can get him to tap out so we can play our other Trinket Mage. Then we can just use Gut Shot here to blow him out if he doesn't have Snapcaster. So most likely he's sitting on Mana Leak at this point. With that in mind, I mean, it might have been better to go Collar here into Equip. I think that running into the Mana Leak is probably still okay. There's the Mana Leak. At this point, we can try to save Collar for value. I think we just want to get it on the table though. So now he goes Lingering Souls, and we just go Phyrexian Metamorph into Trinket Mage into Grafdigger's Cage. The one worry I do have here is that we're not going to have enough mana to equip Mortar Pod also. So once again, here we're hoping to get him with the double block, and I don't think he's going to. He's just waiting on probably his Drogskull Captain. So hopefully it doesn't go like Intangible Virtue or something, which would be pretty awkward here. I guess we can block and then force the vault and then gut shot in response. And since we're on the low end here, I think we definitely want to try to double Mortar Pod here, just to start dealing with these spirit threats. This way we can whiff his human and then nuke out the spirit on the blocks. So we basically just time walk him there. Problem is we need a little bit of action here. Okay, so we definitely want to kill that. Well, let's see, so he goes Virtue. I'm wondering if he has Drogskull in hand. I think we do actually want to kill that. Playing the plane so we can play around Mana Leak if he's got it, in case we need to Vapor Snag. And I guess here we're just holding the planes just in case he runs like Liliana, for instance. Not expecting to run into Liliana, but it's, you never know. So we both are just drawing infinite land here. Now at this point he might have Gather being at 5 life, and if he does it's going to be pretty awkward. I think we've drawn over half the lands in our entire deck at this point. 5, 10, 11, yep, over half. So we have a 1 in 4 chance of drawing a land from this point forward. Snapcaster is fine. It's not doing anything there. Not sure if he sees the interaction there with Grafdiggers. Okay, I guess that's it. Alright, so basically Esper Delver with humans. I think the same... We definitely want to bring in Missteps, because now it also counters Champion. I'm not sure about Purge. He might bring in... we might potentially run into, like, Curse of Death's Hold. I don't think so, but... Don't really know here. War and Peace is going to be an all-star. Spell's Guide is also quite good. Cards we want to cut. Let's see. Cutting Snapcaster, because we're going to be going straight for Grafdigger's Cage. Might need Life Staff. Can cut Spellskite. Probably double collar. Cutting Metamorph, just because he's not gonna. We're not expecting to run into Geist. And then we can. Snag is still very, very good. I think maybe shave down to 2 Snag. It's quite good, but if he has, Dragaskull in play, it's going to be untargetable. I think something like this is going to be alright. Once again, also not really bothering with O-Ring, just because his creatures will most likely be untargetable. Or not really worth O-Ringing, and he doesn't probably, he may run like 1 sword or 2, potentially, but I think it's mostly just going to be big flying creatures that we can't target. So I think with this we just have to gut shot right now. So like here we're hoping for either Champion or Delver. And this one's kind of interesting. I think that it's actually better to drop Mortar Pod here, just because this way if he goes Champion into Gather, we have Mortar Pod back up. I mean, he could always Vapor Snag our Germ Token, I suppose. But I think this is a little bit of a better play than Gather, although I could be wrong. And I guess he just goes Lingering Souls. So I think here, well, we kind of have 2 plays here. We could either go Sword into Equip, and I think that might actually be the better play, because getting Trinket Mage for Grave Diggers is not going to stop Lingering Souls this turn. So I think it's better off for us to just push with Sword, try to make a big impact here, and hopefully try to race Drog Skull. Like this way, if he like snags our germ, we just get one of his guys in response. Which is not optimal, but it's still better than just losing the germ. And like there, if he'd cast like a new Lingering Souls that turn, we would definitely go Trinket Mage into Grave Diggers. So hopefully he doesn't have Vapor Snag here. That would be pretty awkward. Looks like he does have the Vapor Snag indeed. I guess with that said, I mean, we could go like Mortar Pod here to threaten these guys. I think it's better to just gather though. Like that way we have... see, because like next turn he's going to go Drog Skull, swing for 6, we go to 10. Yeah, I think it's still better to gather here. Or like if he plays Dungeon Geists, we don't just lose, because then he just taps out one guy. I almost feel like Mortar Pod equipping first is better here. Just because that way, like if he responds, we at least get something. Then again, we can always play Mortar Pod. I think we're just going to go Sword and then just have a chance to play another Mortar Pod. Okay, now not playing another Mortar Pod, or at least equipping there, I think was definitely wrong. So that's definitely a mistake of mine. Because now he's just going to go Snapcaster into Vapor Snag, I think. Yeah. So unfortunately that was a misplay. So now we're expecting Snapcaster, or just Vapor Snag. I think at this point we actually just want to go Mortar Pod, keep the land in hand for life, and then just sit. So let's see, if he goes like Dungeon Geists after attacking here, he just gets us. See, so if he casts Dungeon Geists. I think actually it's still better to just take out his guy here. Because if he plays Dungeon Geists anyways, like we don't have enough power to break through the 2-3. Now we're definitely going to try to Mortar Pod first, I think. And then see what happens. Okay. Steel sabotage. Yuck. Not much we can do about that. So like, hopefully he doesn't have like Midnight Hunt in there. Okay. I think we just take 4, go to 6, and try to get through. Might have been incorrect, I'm not sure. So like playing around Mana Leak doesn't even work right now, because if we play around Mana Leak, like I mean if we cast Sword with Mana Leak mana up, he can still just Mana Leak it and we can't equip. So I think it's actually better to go for the big play here. To go for Paladin, and then Paladin into Sword. Okay, connecting there is really, really low. Wonderful. Okay, I think we still want to keep the land in hand, just for the purposes of gaining as much life as possible. Okay, he's going for a sword, and that's fine. Luckily we have another sword in hand. So now we definitely leave up Mana Leak mana. And at this point we also want to go ahead and drop down Spellskite, so in case he has Vapor Snag, we can re-equip. We only gain 3 life this way, but I think it's more important to have the protection. Oops, actually let's move this over to the Paladin for a little bit more damage. This way we've got the double mortar pod backup in case he goes like Drog Skullcaptor or something like that. Got a little bit of wiggle room. Really like Spellskite here just because in this case if he goes like Dungeon Geists, we can just go ahead and redirect it, or Vapor Snag, or any kind of shenanigans. And I think we just take it here, keeping Spellskite up. So now we can gather for a lot, and then Mortar Pod and finish him. Definitely going to be moving that. And now that we've redirected it, we can go ahead and shoot him. And that, I believe, should be game. Yep. Okay, so looking at some of the changes here, really liking the Vapor Snag. I think it's making a huge impact on the overall strength of the deck. And so that was Esper Delver. So we will see you for round 2.